And we shall get started now. So we're going to be doing a new hip opening pose tonight that I've been working with as well, which will address inner thighs and parts of the hips. But this is yin and zen. So we'll be doing yin postures and blending in some information with the meridians and the healing points of the body. Take a comfortable seat. Bring your hands to your heart and close your eyes. And begin by having your sensory awareness to the room around you. And then begin to direct that attention within. Allowing the breath to drop down more deeply into the belly. Allowing the breath to both slow down and to deepen. And may we, through this practice, learn to connect to the ever-present infinite as it is always around us, within us, and never not present. And may we learn to see the divine in all things, in this life, both pure and impure, aware and unaware. And may other beings benefit from this practice through our bodies and our minds. May we begin to root out the causes of suffering in this world and become an inspiration to ourselves to stay on this path and to others. And take a deep breath in for Om. And then please bow your head downward to your heart. You can touch the center of the forehead. Lift your head and open your eyes. Okay, so we're going to begin in a reclining position tonight. You'll need a blanket or a towel. And we're going to bring this into a roll. So open your towel or blanket up. Turn around and place your elbows on your roll. Once you have your elbows on the roll, I find this is a good way to get in position and try to find where the shoulder blades are. So you can lift your hips up and slide them down a little bit. My elbows are still on the roll. And to be quite honest, mine's a little more folded than a roll. So I'm going to redo because I want a little bit extra height for this one tonight. So let's revisit that. We'll be on the elbows. You'll lift the hips and slide it down. And then from there, you're about in that perfect position. When you slide your elbows out to the right and the left, you can get your shoulder blades onto the roll quite easily. And then we're going to lift the arms up one at a time. Try to lengthen the spine and move the elbows to the upper part of the roll, head to the floor. If it's comfortable to bring your arms into this cactus position with them in external rotation, please do that. Or you can use your blocks to support the wrists. We want to be in a position where you can completely let go and not have the hand in the air, kind of hovering or levitating, so you can place them on the blocks. Please close your eyes. The legs can be in a bent position. If you prefer, the legs can be in an extended position. Notice where you feel the tension this evening. If Begin to direct the awareness of your breath into that tension. This posture will open up the lung meridians, the large intestine, the heart, and the pericardium. And the heart in Chinese medicine is said to be the center of the mind. And what that means is that if we are to say, I am, and then we state our name, we tend to point directly to the chest and to the heart. So this posture begins to open up the I amness of who we are, both in body and in spirit beyond the body. Relaxing the rib cage with each exhale, you may notice it settles downward, both towards the blanket, towards the roll, and also lower ribs resting downward towards the mat. So in your mind's eye, I want you to picture what your rib cage looks like. And at the posterior side of the rib cage, at the very bottom, are two floating ribs on the left and on the right. So sense where those floating ribs are, and then picture your two kidneys, if you indeed have both kidneys, they're left and right at the floating ribs, deep in the rib cage. Allow them to feel heavy, rested, as if they're being cradled inside of the curve of the floating ribs. And these are part of the vital essence of the body, and the kidneys are associated with the water element in Chinese medicine, and water has the tendency to flow, to move downward, and to spread out. So allow the kidneys to feel full with blood and health, to move downward, and to spread out. And now begin to slowly come out of the position, bringing your arms back to your chest. We're actually just going to move the pelvis down a little bit. So lift the pelvis up and move it down, maybe another 1/2 inch. Stretch both of the arms upward towards the ceiling, palms facing one another. And now one at a time, stretch one arm up above the head, spreading through the fingers, reaching back through the thumb as if the thumb were going to touch the floor, and perhaps it can. Then slowly bring it back up, and with the other side, spreading the fingers, stretching the left arm or the second arm up alongside the head. Slowly bring the arm up, and now first arm again. For me, it's my right arm. Perhaps it is for you too. And pause there, bring a little bend to your elbow, and just begin to notice how far the fingertips are from the floor. And perhaps you can begin to straighten the arm a little bit more, but you will probably feel a gentle tug through the connective tissue and through the muscles of the upper arm, maybe even perhaps in the upper back, as you begin to open up into the meridian line that feeds into the pinky finger, and that belongs to both heart and small intestine. These are fire element. Fire has a tendency to rise. And so with the arms arisen above the head in this way, with time, it will slowly begin to respond to that, opening up the chest center, allowing there to be an expansion in the chest center. Now very slowly bring the arm up. Now for the second arm, reaching it up and back. Just take it a comfortable space or distance, and then play around with bending the elbow and just noticing how far your fingertips are perhaps from the floor. So even keep your elbow point kind of steering upwards towards the ceiling. You're welcome to close the eyes once you know the work we're going to do in this position. Move the tongue to the roof of the mouth in a comfortable way that allows the back of the throat to open. It may just be a light touch. Some people prefer to roll the tongue, but in a way that helps open up the trachea, so the top on the upper palate of the mouth and the upper part of the throat for the breath. And then perhaps you can start to straighten that arm, just seeing if you're able to, with a straight arm, reach your fingertips back a little closer towards the floor. Just playing around with this. Tongue to roof of mouth. The tongue is deeply connected to the muscles of the throat. Moving down into the throat, it even connects to the omohyoid bone, which is what we just call the Adam's apple, but the apple of the throat. Now, slowly bring this arm back up to your start position. You can wiggle your fingers or circle your wrists, which always serves the awakening of the kidney energy. Then stretch both arms up together and see if you perhaps can get fingertips or thumb to touch the floor. And if not, slide your blocks up. This can be a place for the hands to rest. Hands or wrists. And you can try too. Does it feel better to have the palms facing the ceiling? This actually brings you into internal rotation in the shoulders. Or does it feel better to have the palms facing one another? Find a place where you can relax the arms, opening the chest, opening the sense of I am. I'm going to be here for 3 more rounds of breath. Tongue to roof of mouth. The throat is open from upper palate down to the hyoid bone. Diaphragm moving and chest expanding. Now with your next inhale, you can slowly bring the arms up or bring them to the chest. We're going to move out of this position, so just roll over onto your side. And then roll yourself up into table position. Okay, this can slide forward a little bit for this next posture. We'll do twisted child's pose this evening, a deep twist. And you can use this if you need support for the head. So we'll start in table position. You can always come a little bit closer as well. Both of these positions work for twisted child's pose. And we'll thread the left arm through to come down to begin with. So you can take the outer shoulder to the floor, unless you want to bring the outer shoulder much closer to the knee. This is also another option for you. And it lowers the hips quite a bit, as if you're taking child's pose. But it may be a nice change for you for a twisted position. So however you're coming into the position, join the thighs together, join the feet together. With your top arm, you're going to walk it over your head. So your hand could either be here on the blanket, or perhaps you want to put, here's another option, head on the blanket. This is better for your neck, and hand on the block. So you have these options here. Use the support because we're going to be in this position for a couple minutes, and you want to be comfortable while you're there. Stretch through the left arm. Turn deeper through the rib cage. So now that you're familiar with the place where your ribs end and the lower back begins, where your kidneys are, you'll also be able to feel how this area is affected very profoundly by twists. So in this position, it may feel as though the left kidney is much more open. The left side of the diaphragm may feel more open because it's downward. Water energy moving downward. If your top hand, if this feels okay, and it's stretched above your head, you can press down into it to help you twist a bit more. Rest into the head. See if you can find that flat spot that is on the temple and it's above the ear, where you can rest and allow the head and the weight of the head to let go. And now slowly place your right hand on the mat, just in front of your face where you can see it, and then press down to rise up. And we'll take side 2. So this brings a lot of blood to the heart as it comes down much lower, and the kidneys are this special filter that cleans the heart. So right arm will come through, depending on your positioning, whether it's going to be close to the knee or not. Temple on the mat. meaning the temple of the head. Stretch the right arm through. You can press it down into the floor. And then with left arm, reach overhead. And then pause for a moment. One arm pressing into the floor provides a lever around which you can turn and twist. The top arm will provide stability. And move your awareness now into diaphragm and kidneys. It may feel as though the right side of your diaphragm, your right kidney, is much more open. It has more space due to the twist and the forward folding nature and how this affects the spine and the rib joints. Then relax your jaw. Relax that flat spot above the ear on the side of the head. Find a place where you can be comfortable in this position. And breathing into the I am more than the discomfort of this position. This position is not permanent. It is not lasting. But the I am in the heart is part of the eternal I am. And now place your left hand on your mat, just right in front of your face, and then press down to come up back into table position. Now, depending on where your blocks and your blanket is, you're going to place your hands on them for a puppy pose variation. So it's very much like table position, but we're going to have the arms stretched overhead. You're gripping your block or roll, lifting your armpits up, squeezing your shoulder blades back. You may be able to lift your lower ribs in so that you feel that fullness more in the kidneys. So this in itself is a strong position. It brings you into a neutral spine. You can feel that there is effort involved here as it starts to open up the arms, the shoulders, and it just starts to bring some deeper strength into the belly. So just to demonstrate, if we're not vigilant, then the belly will tend to sag and it creates a taco, like literally like a taco effect in the kidneys. It kind of squishes them. So we want to breathe into the kidneys. So we bring the lower ribs away from the floor. It makes some length in the lower back too, which is really helpful. Then you can start to bring your hips back, perhaps even drop your head. So the hands press down and the armpits lift. They're in opposition to create balance. The lower ribs draw in as the tailbone reaches back and downward towards the pubic bone. So this will bring a lot of wonderful length to the spine. If the forehead comes to the mat, that's possible for you. This is fine. Keep the tongue to the roof of the mouth. And this will assist with the Ujjayi breath. It helps bring in the higher oxygen content to the body. So from lungs, it moves into the bloodstream, and from the bloodstream, then moving about the body. We'll be here for 3 more rounds of breath. And then with your next inhale, slowly come up. Nice and easy. Turn your fingertips around to point back towards your knees. Spread the fingers out and stretch through the fingers. If that doesn't feel so wonderful, just lift the heel of the hand up, because the fingers will translate and bring the stretch into the rest of the hand. Okay, good. And then turn them back around. So we're going to need a block, just one block for the next position. We're going to move the blanket or your prop, your roll out of the way. And we're going to come up with the left foot stepped forward, coming into a lunge for Anjaneya Asana. So we can start something like this where you're using the block for a little bit of support. You can always place your elbow on your front knee. The feet and the back knee are as wide as your hips. So you want to begin to establish that the back knee is not behind the front foot. From there, you're going to tone through the inner thighs. The kidney meridian actually starts at a point on the sole of your foot. So from the sole of your foot, it moves up through the foot into the inner ankle, and you have one on each side. So you've got one on one foot, one on the other, and then these meridians come up the inner part of the legs. So we just want to picture that now. The center of the foot, at the center of the ball of the foot, picturing it move up the arch behind your ankle bone, coming up the inner line of the leg, and then the inner line of the inner thigh, and then deep into the body, coming all the way up to the kidney organs. It then moves near the heart and emerges at 2 bilateral points just underneath your collarbone here at the front top of the chest. So keep some tone in the inner lines. Perhaps that allows you to feel that energy line. Square off your ribs so that they are square with the front of your mat, and then also in harmony with your pelvis. Draw your shoulder blades back so that you start to perhaps feel this emergent part at the very top, just underneath the collarbones. So broadening the chest and broadening the collarbones. And then we're here for 3 more breaths. Using the block as needed, using the hands on the knee as needed. Now, tongue to the roof of the mouth, throat back. And then exhale to release. Okay, time for side 2. We step right foot forward, left knee behind. Set your foundation hip distance apart. Use your block as needed to support your hand. Pause and spread your toes apart. Settle into the feet. Settle into the I am beyond the body. Tongue to the roof of the mouth. Feeling the breath move deep in the diaphragm. The breath moves down on the inhale. And now sense the feet. Sense the arches of the feet. And then sense the ball of the foot. Find the place where the ball of the foot meets the arch of the foot, right at the center. And this is the bubbling spring, the bubbling well of health, kidney 1. And so it moves through the arch of the foot, behind the ankle, up the inner line of the calf here. It comes across the knee and through the inner part of the thigh. And then it moves deep into the sexual organs where it comes into the torso, moves up through the kidney organs, and then back through the heart where it emerges at the top of the chest here, just underneath your collarbone bones. And it's at a point that's about halfway between the center and the edge of the shoulders. Now bring the tongue to the roof of the mouth. Open the throat, tone the inner thighs. And become aware that this energy pathway has a physical component in the sinew of the body, the connective tissue, the fascia of the body. And that's the physical component along which this prana or chi, this vital life force energy, travels. So from feet through inner thighs, deep into sexual organs to the kidney organs themselves, and then up through the chest to underneath the collarbone. See if you can sense that now. The interconnectedness of your being, moving mind into all parts. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. And then inhale to slowly come up. Okay, tuck your toes under. Bring the block that you had just underneath you in table position. Turn it to an upright position and bring your hands in front of it. Take your hands about shoulder distance apart. Soften the heart. So move the heart down as if you could move it down so much in squeezing your shoulder blades that you almost feel like you could get it to touch where your block is. And then from there, breathe into the kidneys. Move the lower ribs away from the floor so there's a fullness to them and you create this balance between these 2 actions. Join the legs together, press down and lift up into down dog, setting your forehead or the top of your head onto your block. And if that's too much and you want to lower the block to the next setting down, that's fine too. So now sense that line, kidney meridian, beginning in the ball of the foot, up the inner legs, breathing into the kidney organs themselves, replenishing the adrenal glands, replenishing the vital essence and health of the body. Moving towards the collarbones, which broaden as the armpits lift away from the floor. From the base of the heart, stretch into the hands again. Begin to lengthen your spine. Tongue to roof of mouth. We're here for 3 more breaths. And now slowly lower to knees. And we'll bring the block up. And turn to the side. We'll take a version of Janushirshasana tonight. And so we'll start with the right leg extended, the left foot drawn inward. So really you could think of this as from Upavishta Konasana, the seated wide angle posture. You could just think of it as bringing the left foot in. From there, you're going to take your right hand over to the knee, left hand behind you for the twist. Root both of the sit bones to the floor. Drop the tailbone to the floor and towards the pubic bone so that the lower belly tones. Now, with your left kidney, lean to the left. With your right kidney, push it forward towards the pubic bone as you move into a twist. Stretching away from you, really root your right thigh and the right inner thigh downward, the right inner knee downward. Now move your left shoulder blade back to reveal the side of the heart in the twist. And soften your gaze. And now we'll inhale and come back to center. So we're going to move into a side bend, which really opens up the side. So we can use a block. Move your right hand from knee to the top of the thigh. And then move your right shoulder down towards the right knee as you come into the preliminary stretch of the side bend. You can bring your elbow here if you like. You can keep it here if you like, or you can move it to the floor. Whichever one is more accessible for you. Then drop your right ear down towards your right shoulder. Let the head hang heavy. Root both of the sit bones down and begin to slowly, this one is like as you stretch into the side body, we address the wood element in the body. So think of your spine as a bendable, like a young green tree. Wood always likes to grow. Anything wood, anything green, anything plant, anything that moves outward, downward, upward, outward. Now, if that feels good, stretch your left arm up, straighten the arm, rotate the arm at its source at the shoulder. See if you can rotate it deeply. Lean back into your kidneys. Perhaps stretch your arm up by your ear or your head. See if you can try either bending the arm or straightening the arm and see what effect that has on the stretch for you. Anchor that outer left hip, toning through the lower belly, leaning back into the kidneys. And then inhale and slowly help yourself up. Okay, we'll take side two. So extend left leg out. Bend right leg in. I've got a knee issue, so I'll be using the block to support the knee tonight. Rest and plant the legs down, and we'll take left hand to left knee. Your right hand will come behind as we initiate the twist. Keep both sit bones grounded. Now, root the tailbone down so it drops and you feel some length in your lower back. Move your right kidney to the right. So glide it a bit to the right. And then with the left kidney, pull it back around into the twist. So left kidney moves forward, initiating the twist. The right kidney is moving back a little bit as that left kidney is moving forward. Soften your gaze and move your tongue to the roof of the mouth to open the throat. Stretch your left leg away from you as you plant the left thigh, the inner thigh, and the inner knee to your mat. And then draw your right shoulder blade back so that the tip of the right shoulder blade begins to press against the fullness of the right kidney. Lean back into the kidneys as you twist. And open up the side of the chest, the right side of the chest. And then with your next inhale, slowly release and come back to center. You can slide your hand down to your thigh, and we're going to move into the side bend. So it may just be something simple to begin with. Keep the sit bones firmly rooted. You can lift up on your lower belly. That can be very helpful to keep that length in the lower back. But see if you can notice you want more of a centered, from a front to back standpoint, a little more centered weight on the sit bones. Then just drop the left ear towards the left shoulder until you feel this nice stretch come to the side of the neck. So that is left shoulder to left knee and left ear towards left shoulder towards left knee. Side bending. You may use your block if you want to support your elbow or bring your elbow to the inner part of the leg on the floor. And right arm will stretch straight up this time. Spread the fingers. Firm the muscles around the elbow. Tone the muscles around the arm and the hand. Then from its source at the shoulder, turn the palm of the head or palm of the hand more so it's facing towards the ear canal. And very slowly find that just right place where you feel a wonderful stretch. Lean back into your kidneys as you're breathing. Continue to root the sit bones, maybe even bend your elbow. Bring the elbow a little bit higher until you feel that stretch moving into the side of the ribs. Remember, kidneys moving back, adrenal glands getting replenished by the deep breathing, tongue to the roof of the mouth. And now inhale to slowly come up. The side bends really affect the nervous system. So we really notice that we're down regulated and relaxed. Okay, we're going to come onto our backs. We started a little late. I'm looking at the time. We will cover the bullfrog pose I wanted to do tonight. We'll cover that next time. So come onto your back with your knees bent. Take your block underneath your sacrum for a supported bridge. And we'll spend these last few minutes together doing a bit of belly massage for all systems and all parts of the body. So you'll place the block underneath the sacrum, bring your hands to your navel, move an inch downward from the navel, and press into this healing point about an inch or two below the navel. I'd like to kind of curve my hands, bring my finger nails together. My hands kind of look like McDonald's arches. So I'm just kind of pressing down with fingertips. From there, you can move a couple of inches to the right of the navel and then press there. Right where the kind of the six-pack muscles fall off and there's a little indent there. Press and wiggle in there. See if you find anything that's tender. This is not quite ascending colon. It's just more, it's getting more closely um, located to sexual organs as well as digestive organs. Then bring the hands an inch or two above the navel and press there. See if this is tender. We're very close to solar plexus. And very close to how solar plexus connects to the diaphragm. Then move the hands again, the fingertips again, to a point that's from the navel. It's just an inch or two to the left of the navel. So I like to press, a little bit of a wiggle, a little bit of a press. These points help stimulate the immune system, and they allow us to have a better relationship with our belly, which becomes a place of less of I am, less of self-love, and more of self-hatred as we get older. So these are important points to work on. And certainly if you notice that one point was a little more tender, if you want to spend a little bit more time there after class or as part of your self-care routine, it's important to do these points, working in a clockwise manner, moving upwards on the right-hand side, across the top, down on the left, and across at the bottom. Just working these points all around the navel. Now bring your hands to your side, and we'll slowly lift up, move the block, and lower down to our mat. Hug your knees into your chest. And then turn to your side. Come up for seated. And then hands to heart to conclude our practice this evening. May these practices and techniques protect us. May they strengthen us, both in mind, in body, and certainly in heart. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.